Welcome back. I am Largo, and today we're checking out another SCP video. Today it's going to be SCP-2852 Cousin Johnny. No idea what Cousin Johnny is, but it says it's keter and it's a mind-affecting SCP, so I guess Cousin Johnny is going to play with your head. I don't know, man. I don't know. But every time I see this, just the name Cousin Johnny, for some reason I just think of that My Name is Earl episode with Sweet Johnny.
Sweet Johnny!
Come on, like I want to say it like that every time. Cousin Johnny, let's go. So let's jump right into it and see what Cousin Johnny has to say.
My name is Dr. Miller.
Dr. Miller?
The SCP we're going to be studying today is SCP-2852. Object Class, Keter.
All right.
Special Containment Procedures. Containment of SCP-2852 is to focus on tracking and disruption of incidents where possible, and general monitoring of SCP-2852 compatible population centers. All individuals involved in blue level and white level events are to be monitored extensively, and their identities are to be given to local law enforcement as potential terrorist threats. Even when disrupted, individuals involved in blue level and white level events are to be cataloged, and their names are to be sent to local law enforcement agencies. Individuals witnessing the disruption of either event are to be given Class B amnestics.
All right, that's the first time I've heard something like that, blue level and white level events, so I'm assuming that's something specific to Cousin Johnny 2852. So I guess we'll see. I guess it can infect entire population centers, whatever it is.
Black level events are to be monitored until conclusion. Afterwards, all participants are to be treated with Class A amnestics and are otherwise treated identically to those affected by other events.
Okay.
Members of Mobile Task Forces Upsilon 36, Upsilon 52, and Upsilon 99 who witness a black level event are to be treated with Class A amnestics upon retirement or transfer, and are to be monitored for any signs of antisocial or otherwise uncharacteristic behavior.
Okay,
If found to have been infected by the black level event, operatives are to be amnesticized, suspended from all field operations, and redesignated to low-level, low-intensity work, i.e. maintenance
and data input. So you're going to be a janitor or desk jockey. Okay. All right. So they've got, contingencies for when their staff get affected by this. Okay, that's good. That's good. Blue, white, and black level events. So I'm assuming they're going to get into those because that's what I'm curious about. I want to know what these classifications of events are.
Mobile Task Force Y-36, Party Crashers, are tasked with responding to any SCP-2852 appearance. Mobile Task Forces Y-52, Keter Duty, and Y-99, Altar Boys, are tasked to identify 2852 events and provide backup to Mobile Task Force Y-36 as needed.
Okay, interesting. These Mobile Task Force are named Party Crashers, Keter Duty, and Altar Boys. Very interesting. So we've got kind of a theme going on with some type of party or social gathering that this happens at.
Mobile Task Forces Y-52 and Y-99 are to establish presence within communities where 60% of the population is Roman Catholic or, as of Revision 2852-7, Anglican. Any SCP-2852 instance found attached to a different religious group must be reported to a researcher with Level 4 2852 clearance immediately.
Okay, all right. I think that's the first time that something so specific as like a person's religious beliefs have any kind of significance whatsoever. All right, Cousin Johnny, what are you up to?
While currently isolated to the North American subcontinent, all SCP-2852 compatible communities are to be monitored for an uncharacteristic rise in juvenile delinquency, sterility, domestic violence, and divorce rates.
What? I'm so confused right now, right? Because as we go along, I try and piece these things together, all right? So whatever it is, there's different levels of events. There's white events, blue events, black events. It's a mind-altering SCP. Something about this tells me that it happens at some type of social gatherings. They're not really clear on what it is, but they have specified that these people are typically of a religious group, maybe Roman Catholic. So what is going on here? Is this some kind of Catholic SCP? Like, what's the last part just kind of threw me off, right? And then uncharacteristic rise in juvenile delinquencies, sterility, domestic violence, and divorce rates. Okay, so whatever it is, it causes some kind of social unrest amongst its population.
Description: instances of SCP-2852 have the appearance of a middle-aged white male. Biologically, the cells of SCP-2852 instances are genetically identical and human.
Okay.
However, instances do not have any identifiable organs. Their bodies are made up of fibrous muscular tissue, with the teeth and hair being made out of chitin, chemically similar to those of the Cicadidae family.
Okay, all right. So it looks human, but upon closer inspection, it's not. My question is in order for them to get this kind of data, did they capture it at some point and did some medical research on it, some studies? Like, how do they know that its DNA is the same from multiple instances? How do they know that its teeth are made out of chitin instead of bone or whatever? How did they get all this information on its physiological structure is my question. They must have captured it at some point at the very least, or there's more than one instance of this.
The eyes of SCP-2852 instances, while looking non-anomalous from a distance, are set in the sockets without any nerve connection.
Creepy.
While capable of speech, despite having no vocal cords or analogous organs, SCP-2852 instances do not show any grasp of language, speaking in a word salad. Despite this, all individuals at an SCP-2852 compatible event will perceive the subject as speaking intelligibly and will regard its actions as normal, unless briefed of its anomalous properties beforehand.
Okay.
Individuals describe SCP-2852 as being playful, with a crude sense of humor, and all individuals affected in an SCP-2852 event will refer to the subject as Cousin Johnny. While sentient, SCP-2852 instances do not appear sapient.
I'm sorry, guys. The entire creepiness of this SCP has been completely ruined for me by Sweet Johnny. It's literally the only thing I can think of. Whenever they say the words Cousin Johnny, I just hear it said as though it were
Sweet Johnny!
Sweet Johnny from that episode of My Name is Earl. So all I hear when they say this, they're trying to be real creepy. Oh, instances of Cousin Johnny. Like, it doesn't hit, man.
SCP-2852 instances appear at various Catholic and Anglican religious functions.
All right, here we go.
And are treated as being an established member of the family. Instances of SCP-2852 are accepted regardless of family resemblance or ethnicity.
Okay, all right.
The entity appears at baptisms, weddings, and funerals, referred to as blue level, white level, and black level events respectively.
Got it. Blue level, white level, black level events. Blue level for, I'm assuming, baptisms, right? Blue, water. White level, wedding, white dress, yada yada. Black level, funeral. Everyone's wearing black. Gotcha. And I assume it's only those three types of events, which is interesting in the fact that it's choosing very specific events, and those events are linked to a specific religion or religious group, which is something we don't really see, I don't think, amongst SCPs usually, is having some type of religious affiliation.
Currently, no SCP-2852 instance has been found to appear at any other family gathering. All attempts at tracking SCP-2852 instances before and after an event have met with failure.
Okay.
The entities are able to appear at such events as though they had always been there.
Entities, plural, so there is more than one.
Alternatively, appearing between frames when under surveillance, or simply evading any attempt by operatives to to keep them out of an event. All tracking devices placed on SCP-2852 instances have malfunctioned immediately, with the entity evading any surveillance. Each family gathering that SCP-2852 attends result in a different behavior from the subject and different effects. Generally, the effects of SCP-2852 appearing at a family gathering result in more serious damage done to children, although adults are not free from its effects. It is worth noting that stopping an SCP-2852 instance before it involves itself in the religious ritual will not stop its effects from spreading, although they may be diluted. The appearance of SCP-2852 at an event is enough for its effects to start spreading among the family. When questioned after an event, all affected individuals report a feeling of fondness towards SCP-2852, regardless of its actions during an event.
Okay. So when Cousin Johnny appears at one of these events, it cannot speak regular English, just babbles word salad or word soup or whatever, and people can understand him anyways, and they have conversations with him, laugh and joke with him, they feel as though he's always been there. He's a part of the family, so no one's ever like, oh, who's this guy showing up at our private family event? Who's this uninvited wedding crasher or funeral crasher or whatever? So it affects them in such a way that they feel friendly towards it. Like they have some kind of pre-existing relationship with Cousin Johnny. Okay, weird. As of yet, I don't know what Cousin Johnny is getting out of this deal. But maybe they'll explain it. Looks like they're about to go into blue level events.
I will now cover the blue, white, and black level events. Starting with the blue. SCP-2852's effects at a blue level event are present more strongly in the child being baptized, its parents, and any godparents chosen for the occasion. During the baptismal ritual, SCP-2852 will involve itself directly in the proceedings, acting as a third godparent when traditionally there are only two, a male and a female. Blue level events proceed identically, despite the presence of a third godparent, until the child is submerged into the water. Immediately, the child's top layer of skin will slough off in one piece.
Well, that escalated really quickly. Just 0 to skinless in an instant. Okay, all right. Okay, skinless babies, let's go.
As though molting. This process does not seem to harm the child in any meaningful way. The godparents will then eat the skin between each other. Afterwards, the mass will go on as normal, and SCP-2852 will exit along with the family. It is of note that SCP-2852 does not appear at any family celebration held after the baptism.
What? That is truly weird and morbid and just weird. Like, okay, all right, okay.
The baptized child has a chance of dying within the next 6 months, well above the national average.
Yeah, because it's not fully formed yet and just lost its entire top layer of skin, which is going to keep out most infectious diseases. It doesn't surprise me that the child has an increased chance of dying within the next 6 months after its primary method of keeping germs and bacteria and infections out of its body is completely removed. Yeah. Unless the kid's kept in like a clean room until all of its skin grows back, infection's almost a certainty.
Average. Living children exhibit multiple cluster B personality disorders. Most join anti-capitalist groups, various groups of interest, or if unchecked, will engage in destructive behavior, usually manifesting in self-harm, abuse of animals, or abuse of small children. Godparents and biological parents will be rendered sterile, regardless of SCP-2852's success in becoming part of the baptismal ritual. Both groups commit suicide within 5 years of a blue level event, normally through drowning. All individuals not involved in the baptismal ritual are 500% more likely than the national average to have stillbirths. Those who are still capable of having children are far more likely to abandon them, sometimes allowing the child to die in the process.
What?
One couple affected by a blue level event in Ohio gave birth to triplets, which they then tore apart and hung from trees around their property.
Oh man, okay. Cousin Johnny, my dude. What? Oh man, okay. Still not entirely sure what Cousin Johnny gets out of this whole deal, but his effects are gnarly. And this is just after a baptism, right? Like we heard what happens to the kid, and then the people directly involved around the baptism, the godparents and the parents included, all decide to just off themselves. Okay, and then people who weren't directly involved in the baptism, even if they were just there in attendance as a witness, they become infertile. That's okay, Cousin Johnny. I don't know what's going on here, but let's go.
Past adolescence into adulthood, children exposed to the song of cicadas respond with extreme anxiety and accompanying physical symptoms such as dry mouth, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and headaches. Some subjects' agitation escalates into violent outbursts, which have resulted in at least 20 fatalities. When interviewed about the cause of their disturbance, no subjects have ever identified cicada song as a trigger for their episodes. Even in one interview involving a level 5 enhanced interrogation, the subject never indicated the role of a cicada song in his attack on the parish, which resulted in 18 dead and 10 wounded, including his parents and 3 siblings.
Man, it almost feels like this SCP is trying to find a way to like write in the real world scenario of mass shootings, you know, this epidemic that is, because they specified that Cousin Johnny only appears in North America, right? So the United States essentially. And we all know that the United States has a massive problem with guns, gun control, mass shootings, specifically young people going to school and shooting places up. And it almost feels like the writer, the author of this SCP is trying to find a way to tie the SCP in as almost an explanation for like these seemingly random acts of violence like this, like someone going into a parish and killing 18 people. So interesting little kind of trying to work in real world stuff with an SCP article. All right, let's see here. White level events. After hearing what happens at a blue level event, typically baptisms are on the lower end of the celebratory scale, not like weddings, which is like a huge event in a person's life and is celebrated by like the entire family. I'm almost a little scared to hear what happens at a white level event.
Next, white level event. During the marriage ceremony, SCP-2852 will insert itself as a groomsman, and its most deleterious anomalous effects will only manifest after the vows.
I'm scared.
After the rings have been exchanged, SCP-2852 will produce various implements that allow the bridesmaids and groomsmen to pull out their teeth one by one.
Why?
The individuals seem to be oblivious to any pain that would normally take place during such an event, and blood loss, through still unknown means, does not occur. The bride and groom will be presented with the teeth and will eat them.
Why? Why do they have to eat them? Like, just the idea of the feeling of teeth trying to crunch down on teeth is just horrific to my mouth.
Thompson's teeth, the only teeth strong enough to eat other teeth.
Oh my God!
What the hell?
Damage done to the bride and the groom's teeth and jaw are extensive, but any blood loss that occurs will not be fatal. The groom will then, in place of vows, vocalize a currently unknown cicada song, which is being known to reach 140
decibels,
rendering the bride and those on the altar deaf. Currently, no groom has been deafened by his own call.
Huh.
At the wedding reception, SCP-2852 will take the role of the best man and give a speech, as all vocalizations of SCP-2852 will be nonsensical, with no pattern to the words used. Individuals will react to the speech with mixed emotions, some crying uncontrollably, and others falling into hysterical laughter. After the speech, SCP-2852 will produce a gift for the married couple.
Oh boy.
This gift currently has always been 3.5 kilograms of human hair of various colors, 13 deceased specimen of Tebison linai, and 23 human teeth in a cardboard box. DNA testing on all gifts have been inconclusive.
What?
The bride and groom of a white level event will divorce, on average, 2 years after their wedding.
I mean, they made it 2 years, I guess.
Usually as a result of domestic violence. Any children produced during their marriage will have cluster B personality disorders or life-threatening disfigurements.
Oh my goodness. You know, now that I'm thinking about this, I wonder if it's possible for Cousin Johnny just to torment an individual throughout his entire life, right? Imagine. Couple has a baby, they go to have the baby baptized, Cousin Johnny shows up, everything terrible happens that happens at a blue level event. Godparents, bye-bye. Regular parents, bye-bye. Kid suffers horrible mental and physical trauma, grows up, finds some kind of peace and happiness, gets married. Cousin Johnny shows up to his wedding, absolutely decimates the wedding. And I can only assume that all that stuff happens and then Cousin Johnny shows up to his funeral. But I'm just wondering, like, is it possible for Cousin Johnny to hit all 3 events on the same individual?
All married individuals attending the event will find themselves unable to have children, despite a lack of detectable changes to fertility-related biology. Sperm counts and sperm quality remain unaffected. Ovulation also remains unchanged, and no genetic irregularities have been observed in eggs.
Okay.
The Foundation has arranged a statistically significant number of hysterectomies for guests at white-level events. The surgeries are prescribed and administered by third-party agents in the medical industry. Exhaustive biopsies, chemical analysis, and mechanical inspections of the extracted uteri and ovaries have failed to yield any signs of abnormality. All children involved in a white-level event will avoid romantic relationships, and 9 out of 10 commit suicide by the age of 18.
By 18?
Roughly half pull out their teeth until blood completely blocks the airways.
What?
And others bite their own wrists until exsanguinated.
Dude. Cousin Johnny, my guy, what are you doing? So, most people so far there are involved in a blue or white event off themselves eventually. All right, let's go ahead. Let's power through. Let's find out what this black level event is.
And finally, a black level event. Black level events are notable in that any attempt to disrupt the event through any means result in the actor becoming a participant in the event. Currently, there exists no way to stop or end a black level event. Any attempts at barring SCP-2852 instances from the church or funeral home result in SCP-2852 simply appearing in a pew.
Okay.
During a black level event, SCP-2852 will take the place of the eulogizer, even if one was not scheduled to speak during the mass. The speech, as any vocalization by SCP-2852, will be nonsensical, with no patterns being found. However, as the subject speaks, the individual closest to the departed will open the casket and produce a long knife.
Here we go.
The knives produced during a black level event are not seen before the event and disappear after the event.
Magic knives?
The individual will then exsanguinate themselves, normally from the wrists, but there have been instances where individuals have slit their throats. In turn, 2 by 2, each attendant will use the knife to pour their blood into the casket. Children too young to exsanguinate themselves are helped by adults. Despite many losing enough blood to result in death, no physical effects are seen in participants. SCP-2852's speech eventually turns into the song of an adult male to Bison Lanai. All participants will respond with the same call, despite the song of the cicada being limited to the male. SCP-2852 will stand at the pulpit until each individual has bled themselves, and then will walk to the casket and vomit a mixture of blood, wood pulp, and dead specimen of Tebison lanai. It is currently unknown how SCP-2852 instances are able to hold the mixture within themselves due to the lack of any cavity of sufficient size in its body.
Well, clearly there's some hocus pocus going on here. I mean, you can't keep them from going in. Like, you can't physically bar them. They just materialize within the building. They just can materialize objects, whether it be that hair that they give as gifts, or other teeth, or these knives that just appear in people's hands, and then after the event they're just gone, nowhere to be seen, no one can find them. Clearly there's some other stuff aside from simply mind affecting. There's clearly some physical stuff happening here as well, but Cousin Johnny don't play around, and he's coming after these family events.
Once finished, the funeral mass will go on as normal, and the casket, filled with blood and SCP-2852's vomit, will be taken to the cemetery and lowered into the earth as is normal for a Catholic or Anglican funeral service. Black level events normally will end here.
So they say that the entire congregation of the funeral, everyone takes turns, goes up 2 by 2, and exsanguinates themselves, i.e. just cuts themselves and bleeds out into the casket. But none of them die from it. None of them seem to suffer any ill effects of blood loss, like rapid blood pressure dropping or loss of consciousness or anything like that. Once they've given their blood, they go sit back down, wait for everybody to finish, and then continue the funeral like nothing happened. Okay, so far, while it's extremely weird and creepy and incredibly, I would assume, messy and bloody, so far nobody's been killed from this. So let's see.
If a family gathering was planned to take place after the funeral, SCP-2852 will attend. SCP-2852 will, once all individuals affected have come to the location, vomit a similar mixture of blood, wood pulp, and dead Tebison lanai into a bowl. This mixture will be primarily eaten by the affected children.
No, party
After
punch.
this has been eaten, SCP-2852 will give another speech of nonsensical words without patterns, strip itself, and lay on the table. The participants then will eat SCP-2852's flesh until there is nothing left. During this, SCP-2852 will still vocalize, even when suffering mortal injuries. Participants have been known to carry on a friendly conversation with SCP-2852 while eating it. Children unable to chew whole food properly will be fed mouth to mouth by any caregivers.
Oh, can't forget about the infants who can't chew their own food yet. Yeah, we can just bird vomit into their mouth. Oh my goodness. Okay. Cousin Johnny, bro.
All participants of a black level event will break from their family either through suicide, moving, or divorce. Every individual involved in an event will be rendered sterile. Domestic violence in participants of black level events will usually be of a cannibalistic nature.
What?
Resulting in the death of one or both individuals. 6 out of 10 children involved will attempt to murder one or both of their parents before they turn 18. It is theorized that nearly a third of Catholic and Anglican D-class were involved in a black level event. For further research regarding related phenomena, please see the database entry for SCP-3004. And that's for another day. But this is where the lecture ends today. Thank you for listening, if indeed you still are, and you're all dismissed.
All right, that was SCP-2852, Cousin Johnny. And man, Cousin Johnny is not messing around. He is one weird sicko. And really kind of weird and interesting, very specific, only hits very specific events, 3 specific events, and only hits them if you're of a very specific religion. And I feel like as a horror story, this has a very targeted audience. You know, obviously, if you're someone that's Catholic or something like that, you would be a target. You know, living in North America under that religion, having any kind of major life event like that, baptism, wedding, funeral, it could end your whole bloodline. Honestly, if your whole family attends at a big wedding or a big funeral or something like that and cousin Johnny shows up, it could literally end your entire family name. So on one hand, it's definitely scary. On the other hand, it's neat that it's very specific in what it does, who it targets, how it functions, and the Foundation itself has really got it down. They know exactly what will happen, who it'll happen to, when it'll happen. He's very methodical, I guess. And its connection with the cicadas, I know that we did another SCP video with the cicadas. I want to say it was Imago, the cicada god, or whatever like that. Some stuff seemed like it might be pertinent to this SCP as far as the cicadas, the cicada song, how it's affecting people. I'd probably have to go back and check that one out again to see if there's any connection between these two, but it kind of seems like there is. Anyways, guys, Cousin Johnny, what did you guys think of Cousin Johnny? Let me know in the comments. Another great SCP video. I really enjoy doing the SCPs, and I hope you guys enjoy watching them. If you do, go ahead and hit that like button if you like the video, and consider hitting that subscribe button to help the channel out. But most importantly, leave your comments and suggestions down below. Let me know what you want me to take a look at in the future, and we can get to those. As always, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for watching the video. Take care of yourselves, and have a great day.
Sweet Johnny.